Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Dudley Spike Brothers standard deck profile for Post Clan Selection Volume 2. With the release of Clan Selection, we were actually given a very interesting lineup of support, being in the form of the Dudley lineup for Spike Brothers. This is an interesting lineup that focuses on just the additional calls that Spike Brothers normally take into consideration, but having more focus on draw power and the Dudley name, which we got a few units with Dudley for this new support in the form of Demonic Lord Dudley Lucifer and a bunch of other grade 1s and 2s from the new support. I'm very interested in the new lineup and just how it plays with the more generic lineup we've had from the different Spike Brother cards, all the way from General Seyfried up to Bad and Dragger. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the grade 3s, we are running a pretty high grade 3 count, with the main one being Demonic Lord Dudley Lucifer. On rearguard, when placed by your card's ability, you can Soul Blast 1 and Countercharge 1. So what's great about the Soul Blast making up for the Countercharge is you do eat up Counterblast pretty heavily in this deck, and also being able to focus this card on Vanguard when it attacks to Counterblast 1 and put a rearguard into your Soul to draw a card, call up to one card with Dudley and its card name from your hand to rear, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, that unit called gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So the multiple unit call that I spoke of before is definitely taken into consideration, the fact that you can call out another Dudley Lucifer just to make up for the counterblasting that you make with this card's own abilities, and just for the soul buildup with all the other units you have. You basically have the power to basically keep the soul going, but also make up for all the counterblast with this one card alone in the deck, and then focus on all the other Dudley support for the added power they can provide when you call them out for the additional plus power. For the added backup grade 3s, the biggest weakness with standard format is that we weren't given any Dudley backup grade 3s to work with. So for the more generic support, I'm running for Juggernaut Maximum on Vanguard or rear when placed. This unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So just more pressure with this card. Having the Imaginary Gift Force Marker with Juggernaut Maximum is just an added benefit for this card if you do have to ride it on your Vanguard circle and then go into Dudley Lucifer. And on rearguard at the beginning of your main phase, put this unit into your soul, search your deck for up to one Juggernaut Maximum and call it to rear, and shuffle your deck. So just being able to call out another one after making use of the one on the original turn just keeps your soul power going up to use for other cards, but also giving you another unit freshly placed on rearguard to then have the additional plus power that this card brings on its own. And then for the last of the grade 3s, I also run 3 Exceptional Expertise Rising Nova, just the added backup grade 3 power on Vanguard. When you would acquire an Imaginary Gift Force from riding this turn, you get both Force 1 and Force 2 instead of one or the other. So this is great for additional setup that it can provide with Dudley Lucifer, giving you the additional critical and the plus 10,000 power that Force 1 provides, compared to the Force 2 trigger additional add up as well. And on Vanguard Circle, you can Soul Blast 1 to choose up to one of your grade 3 rearguards, and this unit gets the abilities of all those units until end of turn. This ability may only be used by a card with the same card name once a turn. So even if you have Dudley Lucifer on the rearguard circle, being able to acquire all these units can give you the additional call for more Lucifer Dudley units onto the field, using Rising Nova as your go-to Vanguard altogether. Just being able to have the Imaginary Gift Force 1 and 2 along with the Dudley support makes this card quite scary, since you don't have to have a Vanguard with Dudley. This card just basically requires calling units with Dudley to gain those additional card abilities. And that is it for the grade 3s. Moving on now to the grade 2s. One of the newest grade 2s is Dudley Davy. On Vanguard rear when placed, Counterblast 1, search your deck for up to one non-grade 2 card with Dudley and its card name and call it to rear and shuffle your deck. So we have the grade 1 and grade 3 options for Dudley in the deck in the form of Lucifer. And just being able to call Lucifer makes up for the Counterblast that this card would take away. And then also the Soul Blast, which you can easily make use of in the deck for this card's skill. And on rearguard once per turn, when a force marker is put on this unit's circle, you may Soul Charge 1, just being able to have the option with the move force marker option also with this deck, and also just for the when placed when you ride a grade 3, which makes this card great for the rearguard setup, but also great for the Vanguard target, just giving you an additional rearguard to make use of with this card altogether. And I also run 4 high-speed Brocky. This is just one of my grade 2s of choice in the deck, having the same lineup power as your Juggernaut Maximum with the plus 10 power when placed, and also just being able to put this card into the soul gives you more and more soul charge power to then soul blast out with all the other different units we're running in the deck. The main focus always being your Dudley Lucifer, but this card, just for the plus 10, is just an added, generic bonus for sure. With the last of the grade 2 lineup just being 3 Adorbs Perm Rena on Vanguard or rear when placed. Counter plus 1, search your deck for up to 1. Grade 3, call it to rear and shuffle your deck. So with this card, you just have that option when placed by your card's ability to have this card also benefit with Dudley Lucifer. I think the biggest weakness of the deck is you're going to go through your Dudley Lucifers that much more quickly, having all these different cards that can make full use of them to call out onto the field. And if you have a grade 3 with the same column as this unit gets boost. So being able to call Adorbs Perm Rena into the same column as Lucifer to have the additional boost power can make up for the 23,000 power alone that these 2 cards can hit for, and be able to hit a good amount of different cards your opponent may have. And this is why I only run 3 of this card, because you really only need 3 for that setup, because once you keep Adorbs Perm Rena in the back row when you have that grade 3 called out, it's just going to be provided for that boost power and nothing else really. And that is it for the grade 2s. We'll now move on to the grade 1s. For the grade 1 Dudley spot, we're running 4 Dudley William on rearguard. At the end of the battle that I boosted, put this unit into your soul, choose one of your units, and move all force markers on your circles to that unit circle. And when rode upon, you may call this card to rearguard. Having basically the Forerunner ability makes this card the ideal ride target in the deck. Being able to also then, when this card boosted, putting this unit into your soul, to choose a unit and being able just to move all those circles to that unit can benefit whether you're running Dudley Lucifer or even Dudley Davy, since when Davy also counts the when moved option for your Spike Brother units, just giving you that soul charge power once a turn when that unit is moved for the marker. So when that marker is moved onto Dudley Davy's circle, you'll gain that additional soul charge. So for William, definitely needed as well, just for that added backup, or just being able to move all those markers to your pressure Dudley Lucifer, or even just the Vanguard circle, since it says choose one of your units and not rear guards for this card's initial setup. And for more grade 3 search power, I would say just having the proper grade 3 to go into is very, very important for the ride target. So I ideally want to run 4 Acrobat Verdi. This is on Vanguard or rear. If your rear guard was called by your card's ability this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And when placed on Vanguard or rear, you check top 5, add a grade 3 to your hand, and then discard a card to the drop zone. So with this, like I said, I really prefer to, instead of having Juggernaut Maximum, either adding Rising Nova or Dudley Lucifer. When you add Rising Nova, you then have the option to copy the Lucifer that could be so easily called out to your rear guard with all of your other different units in the deck. Being able to copy those cards, Verde is just good for that setup. And then lastly, for the grade 1s, I run 3 Ambush Dexter. On Vanguard, when placed, discard a card from your hand and draw a card. So it's draw power to get through the proper units you want. And on Rearguard, when placed, counter +1, put a grade 2 or greater Rearguard into your soul. Search your deck for up to 2 cards with the same grade as the card put into your soul by this cost, and call them to rear. So the final card that can call cards out by card abilities, being able to call out a Juggernaut Maximum and then a Dudley Lucifer, benefiting from both the power plus and then the resource buildup with both of these cards. It's just my preferred added backup grade 1 support. If you wanted to run just 3 Verde and potentially put in a 4th Ambush Dexter, you can take out the 1 Gyro Slinger that I was running as the proxy for the last Verde and put it in as the 4th number for the Ambush Dexter. And then for the grade 0s, just running the Running Sniper as the starter for the deck. I find it much more fitting. It kind of fits and looks like the Dudley lineup for all the other cards in the deck. And for more pressure, I also run the 8 critical lineup, so the 4 Silence Joker and the 4 Sonic Breaker, just the preferred criticals for the deck. And for the Sentinel, I am running the Draw Trigger 1. Just hand consistency was a big weakness of the deck, just your numbers, fully invested onto the field. You want to have just more draw power, which this card can provide, and guaranteed guard against a lot of your opponent's units. And then lastly, you got to go with Cheer Girl Tiara. I would say she's probably the best heal trigger we've had for Spike Brothers since the beginning, so definitely the preferred one for this deck also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. It's definitely an interesting take on Spike Brothers. We've had some different support all throughout standard format. So Dudley's being the, I would say, kind of generic subclan we finally got for this clan is definitely a good take at that for sure. And I'm interested to see just the role that Spike Brothers will play, being part of the Dark States in the Overdress format as well. If we'll see more of this pressure playstyle in the lineup we have for all the different cards we'll be receiving, and just from the future booster sets as well. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.